another week and another brand new episode here on the Granny Panty Podcast. I'm your host, RubyLynne. Before we start our new episode, I would love it if you would subscribe. Definitely like this episode. Give me some comments. Do you have questions? I'd love to answer them. So I am so excited about this week's episode. I have the iconic 80s, 90s, 2000s porn queen. She just re-entered the industry after kind of taking a break and doing some self-shot, produced content for her OF. I'm very lucky. She was my second guest ever on this podcast almost 2 years ago. And through that, we've become really good friends. I don't know how we didn't know each other before, but it's kind of like we've been best friends since the 80s. But I want to welcome, we're going to talk about her brand new full film production with MILF. So without further ado, help me welcome the iconic Christy Canyon. Christy Canyon, the Christy Canyon, my friend Christy Canyon, the queen, is here this week. Thank you.
And almost your lover.
Hey, that's coming. Every time I'm in LA, you are so busy these days, and I can't wait for us to talk about all of that on the show today.
I know. The first time I was doing some personal stuff. The second time you guys weren't feeling well after the party. But that's the great thing about true friends like us.
Yes.
And Lynn and I always say, Ruby, like we have known you since the 80s. Like you would have been one of us. You know what I mean?
If I had any era to go back to, I graduated high school in 85, so I'm telling my age. But yeah, if I could go back to any era, I think of adult work, 80s, 90s would have been it.
And I've been through every decade for 40 years now. So I'm showing my age, 40 years. So I've been through the 80s, the 90s. Radio, I was on Playboy Radio in that new century. Right. So I missed a decade and a half of filming, but I was still in it, just a different sector of it. And now here I am again in 2024. But I've never left. I've just always done different things. There's always something to do. People are like, oh, welcome back. I'm like, I've always been here, whether it's radio for 18 years or OF or Sex Panther, there's always something fun to do.
I'm really excited to talk to you today. And I think a lot of people, want to hear about this coming back to the hardcore and jumping right in. And I'm excited to find out what was the one thing that made you say, yeah, I'm going to, but we're going to get to that.
Yeah.
The first thing I want to do is talk about, you were my second guest on my podcast when it started. And I've always been so appreciative because of your status, and you're well known and you are just at the top. And you said yes to my little old podcast with the Granny Panties. And that is one of the things that I have always loved and appreciated about you, is because you some people, oh, you're brand new, who knows? I'm not doing that until you have millions of followers or something. But what I love is you're so authentic, and you did come on.
I did. I think Lainey said something. Lainey was our introduction, and I've known Lainey for decades. And I thought any friend of Lainey's is a friend of mine. And I'm all about helping out talent.
You are.
The only people that I may say no to are the guys that go to the Exoticas with the microphone. Will you be on my podcast? And I'm like, dude, who are you? That kind of thing. But talent, I appreciate and I respect, and I want us all to make it. So, however I could do it in my little stupid way, I'm always willing to give my fellow girls, especially, a little bit of help. I enjoy people in the business, and we all have to do what we have to do. And why not? Even though I've been here 40 years, I don't think of myself as that special. Yeah, I've sustained, but
Right.
I'm not like, yeah, I'm Ms. Canyon. Like, it's all just, I never bought into the character, if that makes any sense.
You're so authentic. And the funny thing I remember, and boy, did I get roasted in the comments on YouTube, I might tell you as well, is for some reason, being from the Pacific Northwest, I have this kind of weird Southern drawl, and I have no idea where it came from. Maybe I liken it to people who grow up in like the Appalachians, like they have that different dialect. Okay, I guess I grew up in small town Pacific Northwest, but I remember saying Christy Canyon, but it came out like cannon. And rightfully so, you corrected me, but it was so funny. Oh my gosh, did I get roasted in the comments? Like, she doesn't even know who she's interviewing. And it's like, no, I do. I promise.
That is so funny. Oh my God. They're quick for the defense,
Mhm.
And I used to get that like on the road. DJs when I was dancing would be like, star of over 200 films, vivid contract star Chrissy Canyon. And I'd be like,
Chrissy.
call me whatever at this stage, I answer to anything.
You're
And
like, as long as the paycheck's there, I don't care what you call me.
bitch. I pretty much, it takes a lot to insult me at this stage.
Right, right.
Whether
Well,
you're
I do want to note something, and I was looking this up as we were talking earlier. So on my channel, it's going on 2 years. November will be 2 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Work it. You did go to every other week for a minute, which I was a little disappointed in because I
I know. It was, I do everything myself. That's one thing I don't know if people know. I don't have an assistant. I, edit all my own content, film. I mean, I do it all.
I
And it
get
became a little overwhelming. But I have to say, I don't buy traffic. I don't buy views. Everything on my channel is organic. So it tends to grow a little slower maybe than other channels. But your episode has the most organic views of any guest in almost 2 years.
Oh my God.
And the most comments, I might add.
Oh my God. I love hearing that. Thank you very much for that little. I do appreciate that.
I have goosebumps because I really look to you that you were the person that really helped launch my channel.
Oh my
And
God.
I will be grateful forever. You have 30,397 authentic views or organic or whatever they call it in the YouTube world.
That's amazing. But I'm so glad. I am so glad. And I'm glad that I was there at ground zero with you. One
Yes.
for me, but no, thank you very much. I do appreciate that.
Yeah. Ava Devine's coming up. She's got about 16,418, but she's my second place organic view. And what it tells me is people love the stars from the past. I mean, we also like to hear about the newcomers and people who are newer, but yeah, you ladies, awesome.
And then
You're killing it still.
oh my God, it's, you know what? And I still love it. Oh, don't get me wrong. There are days when I'm like,
Right.
I don't want to turn on my SP. I don't want to, but you're like, and you do it. Or sometimes you do take a day off because the difference is now it's 24/7 if you allowed it.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Whereas when I started, it was you did your movie, you went on the road for 5 days, you did
Right.
8 hours at a bookstore, whatever,
Mhm.
and then you were done. You go to the beach. You did well. Obviously, we didn't have phones back then.
Right.
But it's like that's the one thing now is it can consume you. You have to know when to just turn it off. There's only so much I can handle a day. Other days I'm like hyper manic and blah, 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 blah. Then there's those days where like, I gotta do laundry. I gotta, this, that, and the other, I gotta go to the kid. I got to take a me day. So that's the only difference that I'm like you, Ruby. The only help that I have, because I'm single,
Mhm.
and not very computer savvy, I'm still on AOL. The only help that I do have is editing when I shoot stuff for my site, because I don't know how to do it. And you know what? I don't want to learn how to do it. And I've earned the
Right.
right to not have to do everything. But even I still have a snail mail fan club. I still sell stuff on eBay. I still go to the post office every Friday with my little tote bags and,
That's cool.
say hi to the girls there. Hey, how's it going? How was your vacation? I'm also a little bit of a control freak. So for me to turn anything over means I really don't get
It's
it.
hard.
Right. It's harder for me to explain to somebody what to do than just doing it myself.
Right. Right.
So yeah, the only help that I do have is with editing on, scenes that I do, like the collabs that I do for my own.
Right.
I don't know
Right.
how to edit. Or like when I worked with Kieran, he just gave me the final version, which I like.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, his might be better. I don't know, but I don't like, I rely on like Dread or Isaiah, they generally will give me the final footage. And then
Yeah,
my
that's nice.
kind of tweak it here or there, or chop it up for like little promo pieces, that type of thing.
Well, I'll give you the edited copy when we shoot.
You're yeah, okay, perfect. I'm going to rely on you for that. Because she's good, but she's not like a Kieran team. You know what I mean? But she can
Right.
at least get the job done, because I don't know how to do it.
You're talking to somebody that has scenes from New Jersey Exotica last year that I haven't edited yet. So
That's crazy, but I get it. I get it. There's only so much you could do. And since I only do a scene like every 2 months, it doesn't, I don't get that backlog. It's kind of like, I want that one. I want this one. I want oh, hey, you over there, that kind of thing.
that's right. Well, you just led me right into why I really wanted to do this show is your comeback, your hardcore comeback.
I know.
I am so excited. I'll tell you what, the photos for this MILFy scene that are coming across my Twitter give me goosebumps and take my breath away. Oh my God, what a power lineup. Tell me how that all came about. I know that you, a few months ago, started shooting some boy girl for your OF.
Started in December with Dread.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing. I'm at a point in my life where I am single. Call it a midlife crisis, if you will. And I'm kind of digging on this single time that I've had for like the last year and a half, because I was the girl that was married 4 times. And when I knew this marriage was going to break up, I had a boyfriend already. Suddenly I'm like, I'm just enjoying my alone time. I'm not saying I won't find another boyfriend or husband, but not right now. So like a year and a half ago, December 2023, somebody said, "Oh my God, you got to work with Dread." And I'm like, okay. Why didn't I look him up? I'm like, okay. So I DM'd him on Twitter and I said, I don't know if you know who I am, but blah, 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 blah. Within 5 minutes, he DMs back. He's like, are you kidding? I used to steal Dad's VHS tapes of you. Like, Mom and Dad used to have VHS tapes. When they were out, I'd go in there and it was all Christy Canyon stuff, right? So I'm like, okay. So I said, here are my things. Like, you got to get tested and then don't work for 24 hours. And then we go for it, right? He's like, you got it, right? So we were going to work like 2 weeks later. Then monkeypox broke out.
Ugh.
And I'm like, I don't know what that is, but it doesn't sound good.
Right.
It doesn't sound like I want to test my waters, because I'm doing this for fun. I'm not doing it because my rent's due. I'm doing it because I'm single, and porn dick is the best. You get in there, you do your job, and you're done. There's no text me, want to go out later. It is what it is, right?
Right.
So I call him up and I'm like, Dread, I don't mean to be a wet noodle. I don't want monkeypox. I don't want to, it sounds horrific. He's like, no, I don't blame you. So we're like, okay, let's shoot in a month. So I'm like, okay. They got to clear it up before then, right? You can't stay shut forever. So we're going to
Right.
go down and get tested. And then super gonorrhea comes around. And I'm like, Dread, I don't mean to be a queen or a princess or a brat, but I don't want gonorrhea, let alone super gonorrhea. Like, that's not why I'm here. I,
Hmm.
he's like, "Oh, I get it. I get it." So then this is like now February of 23. No, because this was a year and a half ago. Anyway, so now it's like 6 months goes by. Had to be last year. It was last year because I called him up in like December of 23. So it must have been 22 when we were going to do something.
Okay.
Now it's like December 23, maybe even November. And I'm like, I'm ready. He's like, can you meet me there in an hour for test? I'm like, yeah, actually I can. He's like, okay, we're meeting today. Nothing will happen tomorrow. And then we'll shoot on Sunday or whatever the day was,
Right.
Saturday. It was definitely December because it was Ginger's birthday and she was in town. So we go down, we get the testing, we work 48 hours later. And I'm like, I get it. It was so much fun. And it's like riding a bike. You pick it right back up. Granted, I'm working with a monster down there. Like, I'm like, really? They didn't make this like this in the 80s.
So you and I have talked personally because we've ended up to be friends. You have told me like, wow.
I'm like, he makes Peter North look small, right? But we did it and it was fun and he's beautiful inside and out. Like I adore him as a person. He's just a
Oh,
good guy. Haven't spoken since, but that's the name of the game. You're not
right.
friends. If I saw
Right.
him, we'd hug and, but I don't think he does the exoticas and.
Hmm.
So then Kieran called me and he's like, hey, I heard you worked with Dread. When is it my turn? I've been wanting you for 20 years. I'm like, okay, here are my rules. He's like, no problem. He's
Right.
like, he's like, but can I have sex with my wife? And I'm like, oh, because his wife is beautiful. And I'm like, as long you can have sex with her, as long as you promise not to wash your dick off so I could taste her.
Oh God. I was like, what is she gonna say?
Oh my, and he's like, okay. Because I'm like, we were different eras. Like I did a lot of Playboy TV work with Kirsten Price, but she started at production when I had already quit Vivid, blah, blah, blah.
Gotcha.
So we do it and it's fantastic. Like I'm coming home after 2 hours and Ginger calls me and she's like, how was he? I'm like, "Ege baby."
Bleh.
Like I was, he
I
was
was just gonna say that.
He was amazing. So then I'm gonna do something with Manuel. Like 2, 3 months later, again,
Right.
I'm pacing myself. It's just I'm doing it for giggles and for fun, this, that. And so I talked to Manuel, and then he's like, okay, da da da. 2 seconds later, I get a text, or he texts me and he's like, um, Kaden wants your number. Can I give it to her? And I'm like, ooh, yeah, I'll do her too. And then she calls me and she's like, okay, I know you talked to my husband. Can I meet you? I want you to be in my big release for the year
Ooh.
of MILFy. And I was like, I'm only doing OnlyFans stuff. I'm just for fun. Who knows? I may quit next week. I don't. And
Right.
she's like, can you meet Mike Moz and me at the studio? We just want to go over things with you. And I'm like, why not? Right. So I go down,
Right. What do you have to lose?
nothing. So I go down there and they're like, this is our big production, we want you to be this role and, and she explains it and this is the fee and and I was like, okay, why not? Why not? Like I'm game for anything. And that's,
Oh,
when you're single, you do different things than if you had a
right.
boyfriend or a husband or, that kind of thing. But I wasn't like you where I had a partner that understood it. I always had the guy that was like, you can't do that. So
Right, right.
I'm just having so much fun. So that's kind of just how it came about. Was I was talking to Manuel. He told Caden. Caden wanted to talk to me. That night, I think I went to the MILF or Vixen offices. And
Mhm.
I'm like, you know what? This is fun. And like I had done some cameos before that for like Axel Braun, Ricky
Yes.
Greenwood. And I love the feeling of being on a good production where they have hair
Mm,
and makeup and catering and blah, blah, blah. Like, and I was like, God, it's in my blood. I've been doing it off and on for 40 years. Like, it
right.
just feels natural to me. There's nothing like, strange that I like the big productions that care still because they
Yeah.
are far and few between. I think it's not like meeting at like Denny's over a grand slam and going, well, you got to do this and that. It's very professional. I felt obviously safe. And again, and no one, thank God, has ever tried. And I didn't get the feeling like they were going to try and pull the wool over my eyes. I've
Mhm.
never had that done, knock on wood. And so that was the germ of it. Went down there. I felt very comfortable. I'm like, and I like that it was like 14 days off and on. I'm talking 6 hours we spent one day on Peloton
Okay.
bikes. 6 hours for exterior, like we're on Peloton bikes and they made like a makeshift, gym studio, that kind
Right.
of, I'm just like, God, this is and no diss against Vivid or PT who shot a lot.
Mhm.
I've never been on a production that was such high quality.
I was gonna say that's like Hollywood stuff. Mainstream Hollywood stuff.
It really, you know what? It was with a little dash of, commercial scenes thrown in here and there,
Yeah.
which, trust me, the commercial scenes took a lot less time than the dialogue scenes. That wasn't their main focus, I noticed.
Right.
It's not good or bad. It's just they're more into the aesthetics of it. Brandy Love, Maitland Ward, Phoenix Marie, and Serenity and I walking down the street.
Oh, I
That
saw that trailer. I think I commented on Twitter like, "Oh my gosh, what I wouldn't give to be among that mix right there."
it was an honor. It really was. It was such an honor to be there. So hopefully, it works out because I mean, I haven't been in front of the camera that way for 20 years.
I just know you rocked it. Like you are so like free-spirited and easygoing. I can't even imagine, but yeah, the stuff that's been coming across my Twitter feed, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I need to get her back on." It's like, "We need to talk about this."
It was so much fun. The only thing, like now, I can't wear platforms. You know what I mean? So my only thing was don't stick me in 6-inch stilettos with 3-inch platform.
Right.
I don't know about you, but I'm 58 now. I know you're younger. My equilibrium is
Only
not.
1 year younger, girl.
Trust me, after 55 is all the same. But like, I'm like, age, when you're younger and you say to people our age, when we're 20, 30, oh, age is just a number. Yeah, no, it's not, baby.
Uh-uh.
That to my hip, tell that to my left foot. Because I have like a sports injury from all those years of dancing, and so at
Yes.
this point they have platforms like, and I'm like, oh no. I wore them for a photo shoot where we're holding the gold frame, and I said to Jason, I'm holding on to you, or we're all going
That's
down.
right. You've got about 90 seconds worth of me standing still before I topple over.
So that's the only thing is like in the last year, my equilibrium is just not what it used to be. Like that, and it's kind of freaky, but what are you gonna do? So they
Right.
worked with me. They gave me little kitten heels and what have you.
I love it. How long is the scene in total? Do you know what the total runtime is?
For the whole movie,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna go with an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, that's a great question, and I have no idea. I have
And
no,
how long did it take to film the whole thing? Was it a couple weeks, a month?
it was a 14-day shoot,
Okay.
12-hour days, Oh, yeah. Yet I'd work 2 days, have a day off. Work a
Okay.
day, have 2 days off. But from start to finish, it was a solid 2 week production. So even if I wasn't there, Reagan Fox and so
Right.
was there, so there was always something going on. Or like, Maitland Ward had a scene, which I don't want to say because I don't know when it's,
Right.
I don't know when is your thing coming out kind of thing. But, so it was like her day, So
Right.
it was just, and then they did her dialogue that day. It was just the Maitland Ward day. So, but it was a 2 week production, and I worked two, probably 7 of the days,
Okay.
7 or 8 days, because I got paid differently for the, commercial scene.
Right. Everybody gets a different rate or
Right.
whatever. Yeah.
I had my scenes for dialogue days, which was kind of cool, So, but yeah, it was. I think it's going to be phenomenal. I have to say, Caden Cross is probably, again, no diss to anyone. It used to be Brad Armstrong was my favorite. Sorry,
Uh-huh.
Brad. Caden Cross is my favorite now.
That is amazing.
Got it down. She's made for this.
That is very cool. Wow. And when does it fully release?
I think on the 31st, which is, I believe, the 31st of August. So in a couple of days from when we're doing this.
That is amazing. I can't wait. I'm totally buying it.
If they send me a copy, we'll watch it together.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, you were stunning in that red, white, and blue American outfit and the hats. Like, Christy, you were made for this.
God, right. I'm like, oh, I think I need stockings. They're like, you're fine. I'm like, oh my God. Because that's the thing, like, I'm not 18 anymore, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's the good thing.
It's better than the alternative, and quite frankly, I'm glad that we grew up when we did. I
Yeah,
loved the 80s and 90s. And even it was just a much happier, more peaceful time. Everyone liked everybody, if not love. And I'm not just talking about in our business, in the world. Like there's
right.
crazy people out there now. There's a lot of angry people out there. Like,
It's a crazy world. It's a
I
crazy world.
cut me off. I don't even do. They steal your parking spot. Okay, I'm not arguing with anyone because people are. You have your blinker on. You're like at Trader Joe's, which is always hard to get a spot, and you're like waiting your turn. The person pulls out and someone zooms in, and you're like, "Bitch, I had my
Right.
blinker on," But I again take the spot. I'm not going to get in an argument with people in this day. And luckily, I'm never in a rush. So I'm always like, all right, I'll walk another block.
Life's too short. So tell me about your OF. Now, are you going to continue to do girl, girl, boy, girl scenes then that are only for OF? What are
I
you doing with that?
I will. I was supposed to work with a really hot girl about 2 weeks ago, and she had to bail on me.
You are so busy though. I mean, like you
But you
had to get your stuff
The
finished.
thing is, I'm leaving in a few days for 2 weeks, 12 days, whatever, with Ginger. We're going to Cabo San Lucas. Woohoo! So,
Wow. Awesome.
oh my God, we are going to have so much fun. And then I've just been busy the last few weeks, so I didn't. Again, I'll resume it probably like September.
Right.
Yeah, you know what? Definitely. But after Isaiah, which was a month ago, nobody since then.
Yeah.
Again, I was going to, and it didn't work out, and that's okay. I totally get it. You and I will, though. If it's the
Oh,
last
yes.
ever do, it's going to be you. And I'm like, and your partner too. Bring them in.
You can't get rid of me like that easy.
It took us 40 years to meet each other, so no, and I'm certainly not planning to. But yeah, when I get back, I'll work on that
Yeah.
again. But and then of course, Ginger and I will do stuff in Mexico. We'll
Right. That's
do
awesome. You
our.
two are amazing. And we kind of touched on it just a bit before we hit the record button, but I do want to tell this really cute little funny story. The other night, my downtime at the end of the day is
Right.
scrolling TikTok. I want mindless. I don't have to think. I want to watch them put their lashes on or what's the newest makeup stuff, whatever.
Total mindless stuff. I am just like you. I am
Brainless. Like, I
totally.
don't want to think about scheduling and goals and budget. Bleh. So
I get
I'm
it.
on TikTok, literally lounging on the couch. And I get this message on TikTok from this person that's like ginger.lynn not oh 09 or something that's like, "Hey Ruby, how you doing?" And I'm like, okay. Do you know how many Ginger Lynns follow me now? Like, it's like 6. And the same with like I follow Hardy, the country music singer. So I have like 14 different Hardy accounts that follow
Right.
me.
Right.
And I'm like, I reply back as a little spicy, maybe a little depressed, down. I don't know. And I'm like, don't even try it, scammer. I know the real Ginger Lynn in real life. So before I block you, just know. And then they're like, no, really it is. And at the same exact time, my phone rings and Ginger's name comes up. And I'm like, oh shit, it is really her.
It is so because you don't know. You don't know. I am always leery too. I remember about 2.5 years ago, somebody comes on IG as Nikki Dial. Now that was my Vivid sister in the 90s.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you fake. She's like, Christy, I swear to God, it's me. I'm like, okay, yeah, but your dog's died
Sure.
and you need money, blah, 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 right? Because like Nikki Dial's been gone for 20 years from the, and she's like, no, here's my number. Block your number, so it says no caller ID, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay. And I called her, and sure enough, it was her. But you have to be really careful because sadly
You
there
do.
so many scammers out there. Oh my God. But my favorite night this year was when we all went out to dinner
Oh
after
my gosh.
first night of X3 in Los Angeles, a convention. And it was you, your partner, Ginger, our friend Stevie,
Yep.
Patrick, the handler, and I. And we ate at that beautiful restaurant in Hollywood, like on the rooftop deck, and it was raining. And how fun was that? And we were,
That was a magical night.
oh my God, I think I was like kissing everyone. I know.
You were, and I loved it.
Except for Stevie. I didn't, I'm not Stevie's kind. Ginger's
Yeah.
not now. He may be your partner or Patrick the handler, but you know where I'm going. And I've known Stevie for 40 years. But that was so
Oh my
much
gosh.
fun.
I would say that's one of my most coveted memories of the whole year. Yeah. It's been a little bit of a shit show year. I'll be ready for 2024 to just go away, but yeah,
I
that
it
was so fun.
was just we were all like exhausted from working. It was drizzling out, and we're outside of this beautiful rooftop restaurant. The red wine is flowing, the food is
Yes,
flowing, and we're like, oh, this is so much fun. And again, it's like we knew each other forever. Someone's
it
taken
was.
photos. I don't know if it was Stevie. We got
Everybody.
50,000 photos of all of us. Like one's like this, that, uh, uh, you know.
You are so funny, though. You are so funny. You have the greatest sense of humor. You and Ginger are riot.
We're like, we can't believe we're still here. Like,
I think one of the cool things is that Rex and I tend to watch a lot of documentaries about the past, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But what I love when we go back and watch these documentaries, and I always get so excited, like, there's Christy, there's Ginger, you guys loved what you were doing, and it came through the camera, in my opinion, that you were having a ball, you were living life on your own terms,
yes,
you know.
yep. And we're rebels, her and I, from childhood. We were
Mhm.
always rebellious. We went against the grain. We went against what society thought we should do and be,
Right.
that kind of thing. And it was just here we were. I was 18 when I got started. I think she was 20. It was illegal, it wasn't, and who was doing it in 1984? And in her case,
Right.
1983,
Right.
nobody. I mean, very few people, but it was, again, it was illegal. Then it became glamorous in the 90s. And now it's
Right.
very, except for the right wing coalition, like Christians, no offense against them, they'll always dislike us.
Right.
People are like, okay, they're here. You're always going to have the groups that want to put the genie back in the bottle. I don't think
Right.
it'll ever happen. They've been trying to do that since 1984 with the Mies Commission, and it didn't work then. And they spent millions trying to shut us down. I don't think that you're ever going to shut it down. You may
Right.
make it tougher. You may, the banks may get on your ass. Hey, we're going to get rid. There's always a bank that'll take you. There's always, you know what I mean? It's just, but
That's what we hope, right?
I know, right? But anyway, with that being said, we always have enjoyed it. We were like these young little rebellious 18 and 20-year-olds going, you're paying me to do this? I was doing it in the car in the parking lot of the
Ah!
club for free. Now I'm getting paid for it. This is like how, and I got to experience so much for the first time.
Right.
Two guys, a girl that happened to be ginger, a gangbang. And I got to experience all these wonderful sexual things on a very contained, controlled set with pros that knew what they were doing. Because I didn't know for the first few months what I was doing. I was like, what's doggy? What's spoon? I was very innocent and naive. And after 40 years, the business still does very well by me. I've never had a bad experience. I've never, it's
Right.
been very good to me. So I've always been very good to it. Always show
I'm
up.
so glad.
Oh my
Uh,
God.
one of the documentaries I recently watched with our friend Jamie, I was had a great time. I stayed with him. Was Porndemic, which is about the HIV breakout. Back then in the 90s, I believe. And I'm just so thankful for the ones that did survive that era. Because there wasn't a lot of knowledge even back then. And so I think about how tough with there was testing, but I mean, with technology advancements in this day and age, and how that must have been very scary for the performers back then.
I I was very lucky in the sense that I was a Vivid girl.
Yes.
Condom mandatory. So
Gotcha.
at least I had that extra
Right.
protection, all pun intended. We shot as a Vivid girl, you shot like once every 4 to 5 weeks.
Hmm.
They paid for your testing. You could go anywhere. I never went to AIM because I just went to my regular doctor and said, hey,
Right.
I gotta get tested, that kind of thing. And Vivid paid for it. And then there was the condom, factor.
Yeah.
But I understood how it could have been very scary. I wasn't afraid only because they always said wear condoms and you'll be fine. So I'm like, okay,
Right. Right.
just don't come in my eye or my mouth or what, come on my titties, that kind of thing. But it was,
Right.
and then I think in like 97, I quit. I was still dancing on the road, but,
Hmm.
um, and I didn't do risky stuff per se.
Right. Right.
I was very vanilla. Like to this day, I've never done film or even in my personal life. It's just not my bag.
It's not your thing. Yeah. Yeah. I think that is like either someone's thing or not. There's really no middle road.
And it's just, I have one, 3, 4 times in my personal life. Not
Eh.
really my thing. I just,
Right.
so I always felt like, well, at least I'm not at high risk, if that makes sense.
Yeah. But it just goes to show how times have changed with the testing. I know because you and I literally have been talking about shooting together for at least a year and a half, I feel like. And just the evolution of testing.
It's so good now. Like the first time I went with Dread back in December,
Hmm.
and I'm like, I don't know. Here's my arm. I don't know. And they're like, open your mouth. They did the swab. I'm like, Okay. And then they're like, pee in this cup. Here's a swab for your butt. You stick it in a quarter of an inch. And I'm like, can you do it for me? Like, and he's like, no. And I said,
I'm the lab, not the doctor's office.
right. And I'm like, okay, I'll do my best. And I'm like reaching around. I'm like, maybe I need to call James Bartley to do it for like, and
Oh my God.
I'm like, I think I got it in. I think, it's tight back there. I think I got it. And then they're like, okay, now here's urine for MGen. And I'm like,
Mhm.
who's she? And they're like,
Yeah.
M.
Who's Jennifer?
Is it Melissa? Is it Michelle? Who's MGen? Does she get this cup? And they're like, no, it's a bacterial thing. And I'm
Yeah.
like, holy for a while. But I'm like, whatever you want. I can
Right.
I can't poop on command, but I could come in at about 10:01 a.m. if you need that, like give me a cup of coffee in the morning. We missed the window today. They're like,
Oh
no,
my God.
cool. And I'm like, okay, but what, better safe than sorry. Whatever you need, just
Yeah.
grab it,
You're so funny.
poke it, pull it, do whatever you need. But I like that because then when I worked with
Yeah.
Joel or Kieran or Isaiah, I felt safe.
Yeah.
I felt safe, and that makes it much more fun.
Right.
Like I'm at that point now in my personal life. If I get to that level with a guy, it's happened twice. I'm like, oh, we're going testing. I,
Absolutely.
and then we get tested. We'll go out a few times, and then I'm like, I don't think I like you. And they're like, well, I paid $400. I'm like, you got your money's worth.
Right. Yeah. If you got to be with me. No, it is true. I have lots of single girlfriends, and I'm always like, And what is cool now at this point, because I'm very proud to be on the past medical advisory board, is that like people in my personal life do message me. Um, we still attend the swinger meet and greets locally. We don't participate, but I've had a couple of people message me and be like, I have I have these symptoms, and I'm like, now I'm not a doctor, could be many things, but if you want a full STI panel, this is what you need to ask for, because they're not going to give it to you.
Right, right, right. You know what? And that's just the way of the world these days.
Yeah.
That I'm so glad that I grew up in that 80s and 90s and you
Mm-hmm.
like, what's your name? They're like behind you and you're like, who are it was so fun in the day when you didn't worry. But like everything, times have just changed and
That's right.
you gotta be aware right now. You gotta be very
Yeah.
careful. And hey, we do as best as we can. It's not foolproof. You're gonna have slip ups, but I don't care if it's because you're doing it in front of a camera or you're at a swing club or you meet someone at a bar. Shit's going to go down sometimes and you just deal with it.
That's true. It's the nature of sex, really.
Right? Exactly. 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 But here we are still doing our thing.
You have withheld the test of time, and I am so excited to have you back on. And you've got this brand new MILFy scene, and that'll be you tell us where will we find this scene?
I'm sure at Vixen.
Okay, Vixen and MILFyPride.com,
I'm
MILFy.com.
sure it is. And like I did one solo scene that had nothing to do with the feature. And they actually with Alberto, who's phenomenal. I don't know his last name. He's beautiful. He's from Brazil or I don't know, somewhere with a lot of beaches. I don't know.
Exotic.
Yeah, exactly. And he's adorable. That scene came out. I don't know how it did. I almost don't want to know. You know what I mean? I'm sure it did
Right.
decent. And then the full feature comes out, like I said, on what are we in?
August 30th, you said?
July 31st, in a few days.
Oh, July?
July 31st, it comes out.
Okay.
And it's beautiful. It's phenomenal. I'm honored and I'm proud to be part of it. So we'll see.
Yeah, all of you in the trailers and everything. What an amazing show. I can't wait. I'm totally gonna go get it.
It was, and then Ricky Greenwood called and he's like, I heard you were Caden. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, I want you, since you did like the cameo, I want you on one. I'm like, it just kind of happened, but okay, I'll call you when I get back from Mexico. Because
That's amazing.
his productions are so high class as well. Like when I did the cameo, he is like so on his game. Like when I did the cameo, I played Tommy Gunn's wife. Tommy Gunn, the
Ooh.
dark hair, great.
Oh yeah. I have a little crush on Tommy Gunn. I'd like to shoot with him.
I know, right? And so I play his wife in this, right? And I'm like, at the end of the movie, apparently I'm dying of something. I don't even know what. And so I'm like on the kitchen floor, right? And I'm wearing this cute, like blue nightgown. And they're like setting up, and I like pull my boobs out, right? And then I get in position. I'm like, and all of a sudden, you hear Ricky say, action. And I'm like on the ground, da, 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 and he's like, cut. And he's like, why are your boobs out? And I said, why not? And he's like, we don't. And I'm like, I've never been told to put them away. Like,
That is
like,
so
no,
funny.
that is not part of the scene. I'm like, I don't care. You can still look at them. Like, and he's like, no, I don't want
I love you. You are so hilarious. I just love you.
And I was like, damn, I've never been told to put them away. But the point of the story is he's so professional. Like there's no goofing on his set. There's no, like one of the crew was like, can I have a picture with you? I've been in love with you for 30 years, whatever. Can I get a picture with you? I don't know. He was somebody on the crew. And I'm like, sure. And I start to pull the boobs out. And I'm like, okay, grab them. And he's like, I'll get fired. And I said, but I'm giving you my permission. He's like, it doesn't matter. If Ricky sees me touching you in any way other than like smiling, I'll be fired. And I'm like, do you want me to talk? He's like, no, I have a great job. I don't. And I'm like, wow.
I think that's awesome though, to have those kind of boundaries and the professionalism on set. That's cool.
I loved it. Like, and that's what makes me want to work for him, because I feel very safe, very protected. Nothing's going to get out of hand, that kind of thing.
That's cool.
And I respect Ricky and Caden, and in his time, I guess Axel, who's now retired. But there are those guys that are really, really great at what they do, and it's a business and it's a job, and they're not like, yeah, meet me in the bathroom in 5 minutes, like. They're very.
That's so 1990.
Yes, it is. I've been in plenty of bathrooms, but but it was always on my terms,
Right.
That kind of thing.
You are doing live OnlyFans shows a couple times a week at least, aren't you?
Once. I try for every Sunday.
Okay.
5 to 6. Now, there was a Sunday that I went to go see the Doobie Brothers with Patrick the Handler. And so I did it on Monday after.
Right.
Generally, unless it's like a concert, I don't like I saw the Rolling Stones a few weeks ago.
That's amazing.
Kid again, right? An 18-year-old, I should say. But it's like, no, I try and keep the consistency of every Sunday. It's kind of like, ending the week together, gearing the week up. About once a month, Ginger will join me on it.
That's amazing.
We're just these two classic girls from the 80s just having fun.
You are. So tell the viewers, do you have a links page, or where can they find you if they want to go to your OnlyFans live shows?
It is onlyfans.com/Christy Canyon 11.
11. Christy 11 is always it.
Also my Twitter. So, and there's no .1.1. It's Christy Canyon 11. Okay, so don't fall for the fakes, please.
Don't fall for the scammers. I know I told Ginger that night on TikTok, we were talking on the phone. I'm like, girl, you're like GingerLynne.09 or something. I go, that. And she had made a new account for jewelry, I think. And it's like, no, you got to get the blue checkbook or check mark. So then her and I together start going down this rabbit hole of how do you get verified.
I don't know how on there. I got verified on Instagram.
Oh, I know, because I just got rejected because according to them, AVN and XBiz are not reliable news sources. So,
bastards. Now I got a blue check. This is interesting, which I pay for on Twitter. And I just
Same.
noticed that they took it down and they're like, your blue check is under review. I'm like, I
Who
don't
knows?
I don't know. I'm just going to say on your show, I don't ask for money. So if any,
That's right. I don't either, ever.
I have an Amazon wish list, you know, but I also don't DM on my social medias.
Right.
Never leave the house if I answered everybody. If you want to DM me, it has to be through my OF page.
Yeah.
Because you know what? When it all comes down to it, I'm having a great time. I love life, but it's also you got to. I have bills like everybody else.
It's a business. Yeah. I think that's what people forget.
I do
But
too. I do too. I don't find you out of the crowd on Twitter and say, oh, I feel this connection with us. Get over it. Okay. Don't be stupid out there. Don't be dumb. Like when we were
that's
at
true. That's true.
3, that first day or second day, this very sweet, kindly older gentleman, you know, 70, 75 comes up to the booth, you know, where we're sitting out there. And he's like all weepy eyed. And I'm like, hello, did you want a picture? You know, going crying, like, are you that excited to meet me? And he's like, I just got taken down. Long story short, he had been DMing on IG or something with a young, beautiful girl, sent her $5,000, $10,000. He had the ring. He's like, I was going to propose to her. And
Oh,
I'm like, how old are you? Wisen up.
yeah.
You know, I said, no offense, but
Right.
you just got taken 101 scam. Now, did you want a picture or not? Because I got a line. I said,
Give me the 20 bucks.
for 2 for 30. Right? You know,
Call the cops.
but I said, sir, you need to if you're that lonely, I feel for you, but get a cat, get a dog. Generally,
Christy.
generally these, especially young girls, you know, if you don't camp, here's the beauty of the world. Buy a Skype. Because they aren't going to do it for free. Buy a Zoom.
Yeah.
Do Cam 101 on SP. You know,
Right.
pay for them to hold a sign that says your name with the date on it. Like, wisen up. We're not living in
Yeah.
the 80s and the 90s. People aren't that nice. And there's scam artists out there. And the internet is the best way to scam somebody. You know, and then he got a picture and then he just kind of stood there and I'm like, go see Ginger. Thank you.
Yeah, right. Ginger's 2 for 30 as well.
And I felt bad, but I'm like, I mean, you got to be a little smarter in this day and age with the internet. Everybody,
You sure do. You
don't
sure do.
fall for grandma's dead. My dog, like a Ginger, had a friend who would stay with her, like a Patrick, you know, like her handler, and
Yep.
no longer with us, but he would stay, you know, and he was in Texas where he lived one day, and somebody on IG was like, "Hey, Mike. It's Ginger. I felt this pull to talk to you." And he's like, let's play. And he's like, hey, he had just come home from visiting her. And he's like, what's going on, sweetheart? Well, my dog Rocky is not doing well, you know, and I don't have the money for the vet. And he's like, that's so weird because I literally just left your house yesterday and
Oh my God.
was jumping on me doing great. And then the person's like, fuck you, and blocked him, you know.
I know, right?
Yeah, you got to wisen up out there.
I know. Well, thank you so much for making the time for me today. I know you have a hot live show to get to here in about 30 minutes. So I want to make sure you're ready.
You are so, Ruby, when you texted me last night and I'm like, yeah, I'm leaving for almost 2 weeks, but let's do it either tomorrow or Monday. But I'm doing Tom Byron's on Monday. I could do it at 2. Like, you know, when you get so busy, everything's blocked off. Like I still have it's in my bedroom. I still have like an old school date book.
Yeah.
You know, and
Well, I appreciate you because I was like, we can do it when you get back. I'm easy. I'm never pressure.
No, and I'm not either, but I'm like, who knows what the internet's going to be like in Mexico? You know, you just don't know.
Right.
Let's just
And I wanted to help promote your show. So thank you so much.
For you so much, Ruby. Oh my God, I love you. And we are going to
love you too.
We're going to make it work one of these times. It's just
we will.
Time I was tired or I just had some personal stuff going on. Then this past time, you had your stuff. Third time's going to be a charm.
Oh yeah, summers are always crazy busy anyway.
It really is. And it's so goddamn hot. So, all right, I adore you so much. Call me if you need anything. And if you want to just get on a plane and meet Ginger and I in Cabo, come on.
Thank you, Christy.
We got a
I
king.
love you.
I love you so much. Bye, baby.
Bye.
Bye.